of all the things that we want our visitors to see on our page, a 404 error is not one of them. A 404 error is what somebody gets when they come to your web page and try to access a link that does not exist. For example, if I were to try to go to my website and access the shop clearance page, that page does not exist on my site. So users are going to see a 404 error. Now, this particular one that my template provides doesn't say 404, but that's the reference that's being used in order to see this. Now, depending on the theme you chose, you may see 404, or you may see text like this that just shows a giant exclamation mark and tells people that they tried to find something that didn't exist on your site. Now, this isn't very attractive, and quite often if people find an error like this, they may just click off of it, or they may leave your site altogether. So what we can do is we can actually create a custom 404 page that gives us visitors something a little bit more attractive to look at. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to add the 404 PHP file to our child theme. That way we can work with the PHP file and not affect the parent. So if we make any mistakes or if there's any issues, we can always just go back and copy the PHP file again and start over. So the first thing we need to do is click on the dashboard. We're going to go to Tools, Child Themes. This is the plugin that we installed at the beginning of the course. And we can go to Files, choose the 404 PHP, scroll down, and click on Copy Selected to Child Theme. Once that is completed, if we then go to Appearance, Theme Editor, you'll now see that there is a 404 template in your child theme. And right now I'm editing the Flash Child, so I can see that I'm working with the child and make sure I'm not editing the main theme. So I can click on 404 template, and I can see the 404 PHP file that generated the page that we saw just a moment ago. It looks like this. So we can see the text where they've written, "Oops, that page can't be found," and it looks like nothing was found at this location. Try one of the links below or a search. So what we're going to do today is we're going to create our own custom 404 page template in order to give our visitors something a little bit more interesting to look at. So we're going to go ahead and delete the content that is here. Just click in the window and click Control A. You can click Delete. And then I want you to go ahead and copy over the code that I've provided in the assignment description. And we have a basic template that we can begin to use as our new 404 page. So go ahead and click Update. And let's take a look at what we've got. So I'm going to go back to my page not found, shop clearance page. I'm just going to click Refresh. And you see we've got something new. We don't have that image in the middle. We have a search bar at the bottom with a red magnifier and a little bit more, self-deprecating text. This is somewhat embarrassing. You haven't found what you're looking for. So now we can begin to customize that. We can make it look a little bit more interesting. For example, what if we, instead of just giving them a page that says, "You didn't find what you're looking for," what if we suggested some content that they could look at? Instead of wandering through our menus, I could say, for example, I'm going to go below the search form. You see that there's a function here, Get Search Form, and that's what brings up the search form on our page. If we were to delete that, we could remove that from our page and not have users see that at all. And now we don't have a search bar. So I'm going to go back here and say I would like to insert a list. So I'm going to go ahead and insert an unordered list. For those of you who've taken HTML, this should look very familiar to you. Otherwise, you can go to w3schools.com and look up how to create an unordered or an ordered list. So now I've created a list here that has some pages on my site, like my blogs, link to my shop. I can read about the WordPress functions, I can read about Michael, and I can read about George. These are staff members on our fictional WordPress site. So I'm going to go ahead and click Update File. And click once again on my page. Click Refresh. And now I've got a list of things for people to visit. Now, I don't have a lot of content on my site yet, and neither do you. Most of you only have a few blogs, and you may have some custom pages that are not listed on your menu, and you can link people directly to those pages. And now we can click on, for example, Read About Michael. And my page not found now tells a little bit about why they're here, the kind of courses we offer, workshops. It just gives them something to look at other than the 404. I can also put on my site branded image, which you'll see right up here. I can take an image that I've gotten ready and paste that in here. Update. And I can paste an image in there. Now obviously this doesn't look too attractive, but I can center that image. I can use a smaller image, but I can give something more interesting than that original black exclamation mark. And instead of "not found" in giant letters, I can change that text to "You found some future content." In other words, the humorous implication is that this content doesn't exist yet, but they may find it at a future time. So if we refresh now, I've got some little bit more interesting text than "not found." You have found some future content. And we can change the "this is somewhat embarrassing" line. We can add a little bit of styling to the page. For example, if I wanted to put my unordered list inside a div container and change the background color, I could add a div container. And I want you to pay special attention to the fact that there are several divs already on this page, and they're indented in order to keep them in order and to be able to close them in the same order. So if you add a div container, you need to make sure that they are indented past the original one, or the original ones. So you'll notice that it's indented the second one to the same line. It's closed the div container on the same indentation as the original one. So now if I save this, I can go back to my page not found, and I've added a div container to my unordered list. Sections things out a little bit, makes things look a little bit nicer. Now I can center that, and I can center my image. I can change my text and center that as well, or I can add a link to the image. And there are several things that I can do. Now I'd like you guys to experiment, and I would like you to see what you can do to create yourself an interesting, customized 404 page, and I look forward to seeing them.